dramatically into clean energy sources. At a time when there is a huge social dislocation of economies because of the suddenness of the price volatility issues. At a time when investments in the sector are both confused and uncertain where to go, given the uncertainties of this market. At a time when a block relationship is essential and the need for us to come cohesively together as a block to provide a common front becomes very essential, because that's becoming essential as you move into groups like OPEC. At this time, APA is essential, and this meeting could not have been better timed. I am sure that given all the work that has been done by the Council of Experts in the last 1 week, we should expect that the conference that is starting today will be very successful and will have a lot of very common agenda that is insightful to deliberate upon. So I'm glad to have you here. But just before I hand over the podium to His Excellency to give his keynote address, I was asked by an ephemeral subject being whose name is Oil to say a few words on his behalf. And it says that my name is Oil. The very kind people who are nice to me call me black gold. The ones who hate me call me crude. I worry for my future. Everyone now talks down on me. Even farmers who trembled at the sight of my name are now strategizing against me. And all my beneficiaries, me have they abandoned. All because the producers have lost their tracks. But I will rise again. And when I do, I will take no prisoners. I will new technologies control. I will my supremacy confirm. I will my respect regain. And my pricing, not too low, not too high, but I will not allow prices to humiliate me. All of you in OPEC, APA, GCF, and all such bodies who have shown me no respect recently, soon you will eat your words. It's my pleasure to invite the Vice President to the podium.
Voilà donc le message du ministre du Pétrole du Nigeria, donnant de l'espoir en ce qui concerne le prix du baril de pétrole.
Good morning, everyone. I'm sure that many here do not know that Dr. Kachiku is also a writer of fiction. Some may remember the Hints magazine, a magazine of romantic material, and Dr. Kachiku was the distinguished publisher of that magazine. He's also written several books. But I trust that his last few statements would not be words of fiction. As a matter of fact, I pray that the last few things he has said will not be fiction, because if they are, then we're really in trouble. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Engineer Babachi Lawal, the President of the African Petroleum Producers Association, and Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachiku. The Honorable Minister of Mines, Petroleum and Energy of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, Mr. Amada Tungara, and Vice President of APA. The Honorable Minister of Hydrocarbons of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mr. Eme Ngoy Mokena. The Honorable Minister of State for Health, Nigeria, Dr. Sagio Hanere. The Executive Secretary, APA, Mr. Mohamed Loman Gaya. General Abdoulaye Gumel, Chairman Senator Abdoulaye Gumel, Chairman Senate Committee on Petroleum. Distinguished Senator Alasho Adura, Chairman Senate Committee Upstream. The Honorable Sam Onugbo, Chairman House Committee on Climate Change, Member House Committee on Petroleum Upstream. Other members of the National Assembly here present, distinguished delegates, captains of industry, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased and honored to have been invited to the opening ceremony of the 6th African Petroleum Congress and Exhibition, Cape 6. This important meeting comes at a time of grave challenges for the oil and gas industry. This is especially so for petroleum producers in Africa, where hydrocarbons account for significant proportions of government revenue. With oil prices falling and actual profits over cost of production also declining sharply, the relevance and creativity of your association is being tested. There's also the gas-to-power challenge in many member states, and the paradox of much gas but precious little gas to fire power plants. The hydrocarbon industry presents the most obvious way of paying for the development of African countries, fortunate to have those resources. But in many cases, it simply has not delivered on that promise, which is why industry organizations such as APA have an enormous burden of responsibility to bear. I'm aware of the many initiatives the association has embarked upon in recent years, including harmonization of oil and gas legal frameworks in member countries, developing regional approaches to local content promotion, and capacity building. But the economic threats to our nations are existential and real. At a time when we should be investing in the sector, finding the resources to do so is a challenge. Besides, the investment decisions of the IOCs, which understandably are based on their own well-defined interests and considerations, have a far too fundamental effect on our fortunes. The indigenous hydrocarbon industry must take its destiny in its hands, and there are obvious low-hanging fruits. The incremental use of gas in Africa's energy mix has become imperative. If Africa must meet her future energy needs, the issue of development of a robust gas infrastructure must be jointly addressed. Currently, Nigeria has the 7th largest deposit in the world and the highest quality, rich in liquids and low in sulfur. Reserves are put at over 185 trillion cubic feet, and undiscovered reserves estimated at about 400 trillion cubic feet, with a capacity to peak at 600 trillion cubic feet. Nigeria has established the Nigeria Gas Company, NGC, to provide gas transportation to newly established power plants and to facilitate domestic energy supply. At the sub-regional level, Nigeria is actively involved in the West African Pipeline project that is expected to deliver clean, safe natural gas from Nigeria to many West African countries. Where we are far from where we expect to be on these initiatives, but it's important to highlight the unique opportunities for profitable partnerships in the natural gas space with Nigeria. Also, it's time to take a much firmer stand on gas flaring, both from an environmental and a waste of needed resources perspective. Globally, over 150 billion cubic meters of associated